somebody that leaked Chrisean Rock and Jr.'s medical records from when he was born, listing the list of issues that he had.
So I don't know if these are actually Junior's medical records, but I will say that the medical records appear to have been written by a medical professional, just the terminology that was used and stuff. Okay? I do believe there's somebody's medical record.
With Chrisean Rock just took a serious turn. And yes, everything is coming full circle to her baby, so let's go right in. The story of Chrisean and Jr. is escalating once more, but this time it's not the typical crazy headlines or eye-catching mayhem. This one seems intimate. It is more profound. Additionally, it has people shuddered. It's the kind of scenario when you stop scrolling and just look at the screen, thinking, wait, what? Here's where it gets wild. The social media landscape is exploding. Timelines and group chats are overflowing with screenshots that have appeared on Twitter and TikTok. They're not only unimportant rumors
that have been released that people are saying are the medical documents of Junior, Chrisean's son. I'm going to tell you where to go to watch this on YT in a minute. So I don't know if these are actually Junior's medical records, but I will say that the medical records appear to have been written by a medical professional, just the terminology that was used and stuff. Okay? I do believe there's somebody's medical record.
These screen grabs are being misrepresented as real medical documents connected to Junior. They are closely scrutinizing every detail, trying to verify their authenticity and deciphering some of the spoken words. People are disputing, sobbing, and speculating about it on the internet, although everyone is acting as though they are aware of the reality. No one actually is.
Me a little leery about it is it says that the mother admitted to prenatal substance abuse, and it listed some substances that she admitted to. I just find it hard to believe that Chrisean would ever even admit that.
The situation is only getting worse by the hour, and it's becoming a full-fledged storm. Let's get something straight now. None of those pictures that were leaked are displayed here, not taking place. Everything we do is civil and above the law. But I can discuss what others are saying these purported documents say, as the internet hasn't been able to stop talking about it since they were released. It is said that medical notes are included in the screenshots. Furthermore, the content is generating significant internet discussions, even though none of it has been verified by any official source.
Junior's medical records been leaked. I don't know how true it is, but it's saying that he got all type of stuff and how she was being neglectful. But my thing is, if the doctors test the babies after they were born and they see that something, like if she was doing substances or something, she would have had to suffer the consequences. So I'm not sure if everything is true or not, but whoever did leak that is about to face some serious charges because the HIPAA laws, like, why would y'all leak that anyway?
Some of the messages indicate that the Junior misses appointments and Chrisean is being blamed specifically, according to online detectives. They are arguing that she is not attending her child's checkups on a regular basis. That rumor alone, whether accurate or not, has fueled a fire that people were already eager to spread. Now, let's not assume that this is something new, Chrisean has been the target of attention ever since she made her pregnancy public. She is twisted and flipped into drama in everything she does, including how she holds her child, where she goes, and even who she is seen with. She is turned into a walking celebrity even when she is merely attempting to go about her.
That leaked Chrisean Rock and Jr.'s medical records from when he was born, listing the list of issues that he had. One of the issues being alcohol fetal syndrome, another one dealing with his ophthalmology, dealing with his sight, something else dealing with pulmonary, dealing with his lungs. I'm gonna tell y'all like this, there's so much fake news going on right now. I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt, even though the person who posted it tagged Blueface and Carlissa in it. Also proving that she didn't take no prenatal vitamins when she was pregnant.
As soon as these purported medical data began to circulate online, individuals went into judge and jury mode. Instant indignation, no facts verified.
I have a baby, there are so many tests that are performed during, after your labor, right? So if the doctors found something that could have been a cause due to the neglect of the mother, she would have had some type of consequence. Chrisean suffered no consequence, which is why I take this so-called news with a grain of salt.
No one seems to be curious about who released this. That is truly astounding. To obtain these documents, someone went to lengths, if they are even remotely authentic. It goes beyond mere rumors. If it's true, that's a serious invasion of privacy. Someone that has information, and that indicates that more is happening behind the scenes than people think.
Something going on. So I don't know if the hospital that she had the baby at, it is a well-known hospital for celebrities, and they do tend to cover shit up. But I'm pretty sure nobody not about to risk losing their license, misdiagnosing a child who's clearly having all of these difficulties and developmental delays. They're not gonna write something like, "Oh, the baby is healthy," when the baby not healthy.
Let's face it, it's a complete mess. While I'm not ready to label the documents as phony, I'm also not out there claiming they're entirely authentic. The way things are developing on the internet, it's beginning to seem like much more than just a rumor. Take note, I'm not here to make things up. I'm just sorting through everything that's currently on the internet. These posts that went viral are everywhere, and people are deeply involved, making irrational assumptions, assigning blame, and becoming alarmed. Allegedly taken from medical records, the screenshots that are being circulated are making a lot of buzz online. It is stated that Junior tested positive for a number of drugs at birth. You heard correctly? Yes, each of the 3. Also, that has people's mouths on the ground. Doesn't end there, though. It is said that a number of severe medical disorders are listed in these same records. In addition to the previously concerning neonatal abstinence syndrome, we are also discussing seizure disorders, stiffness, and a disease known as cortical visual impairment.
Maybe they had advised her to get the baby certain kind of help, and they probably worded it on the paperwork as if it was natural causes and not due to the neglect of the mama. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? All I know is there's a story going around showing fake or true diagnosis and records from the baby. I don't know, but I'ma look more into it, y'all. I'll come back if they,
CVI is not the same as blindness. Whether the eyes function is not the point. It has to do with how the brain processes what the eyes see. Therefore, if the brain isn't interpreting those signals, the child's visual perception of the environment is impacted. That is grave and terrible. Once more, it is alleged. However, the persons in these screenshots' sincere concern. It's more than that. Additionally, a group of highly qualified professionals, including neurologists, orthopedists, cardiologists, and possibly others, are reportedly already providing the newborn with treatment. If this is accurate, it suggests that this child has been battling a lot from birth. This is the part where the internet is going crazy. The mother, allegedly Chrisean, confessed to frequently doing drugs while pregnant, according to one part of the purported note. There have been a ton of responses to one statement alone: arguments, judgments, debates about accountability, and even the possibility of future legal repercussions are all being entertained.
So it says that the baby suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome and neonatal abstinence syndrome. So neonatal abstinence syndrome is basically the baby is withdrawing from opioids, some sort of drugs, but they're thinking either opioids or cocaine in this case. And allegedly.
Clear, none of this has been confirmed by formal means as of yet. These documents may or may not be authentic. No hospital has verified it. Just the fact that such sensitive, highly personal information is out there, you can see how out of control it is. The state of affairs has changed. All of a sudden, the internet has become a courthouse. Everyone believes they are aware of the information and are prepared to render a decision. Then what? So fasten your seatbelt. At this point, the situation becomes even more suspicious. The screenshots that sparked this fire were initially uploaded by a user with the moniker King K's. Upon investigating to verify that profile for myself, I discovered that it had vanished. Not a trace was left. It simply disappeared, either deactivated or removed.
Also allegedly suffers from spasticity, which is like a neurological disorder that makes it hard for people or babies to move their limbs.
Let's face it, the timing seems too good to be a coincidence. People are now making guesses online. According to some, the account may have been flagged for disclosing private information, while others think it was intentionally deleted to prevent heat. That account, however, didn't post informally. It dropped explosives. They were causing social media to go crazy in real time with their content. They had nothing to hide. Based on their posts, they were straightforward. Accused her inner group, Chrisean and Blueface, of attempting to hide the truth regarding Junior's condition. The public was being fed a misleading narrative that everything was okay. The Junior was doing fantastic and nothing was wrong because of the way they presented it. However, these purported revelations indicate that this is not at all the case. The timeline was ablaze with the initial post. In essence, it stated that the child's illness was so evident that it could not be concealed. A PR statement couldn't
Suffers from seizure disorder and CVI. Now, CVI is cortical visual impairment, which is just, it means that a part of his brain has been damaged, the part of his brain that controls his vision. So, he has blindness. Like a lot of I've heard people say this, but I just didn't believe it.
The truth is in that child even criticized others who were standing up for Chrisean. Give up ignoring it. Brutal, frigid, and it truly shook people. Words like those made people freeze. It was more than just rumors. It resembled a cry to action. This screenshot circulated like wildfire before the post vanished. The message itself did not. As soon as something hits the net, you already know. Additionally, it's too late to take it back. Allow me to clarify this now. The veracity of all of is yet unknown. No one has verified the exact method of obtaining those screenshots. And without that, it is impossible to distinguish between what is a rumor and what is true. The situation is blossoming online though, and Reddit is already crowded with lengthy discussions. People are debating hour after hour and scrutinizing every little detail.
Palliative care. Now, I work in hospice, and a lot of people, they believe that palliative care and hospice is interchangeable, but it's not. The palliative care kind of focuses more on prolonging the life of the child or person in general. But in this case, if he should be on palliative care, he's got a very serious medical condition, and he ain't gonna. She needs to be taking care of him.
And it's not going to slow down anytime soon. TikTok is exploding at the moment. People are piecing together video, conducting in-depth studies, and examining everything from body language to interviews to previous live feeds. People are pointing at what they believe to be unusual behavior or medical signs, pausing movies frame by frame, and pulling up receipts. Twitter is already in disarray. The hottest hashtags change every hour. Like it's open season, users are tagging CPs in viral tweets and arguments are exploding in the comments. There is no doubt as to whether these assertions are true or not. There is no need for proof on the internet. Already, public opinion is rapidly changing. The damage is already done.
As a mother, do you know these diagnoses, or do you know any of this information about your son and not help him in any way? Continue to live the same lifestyle that you lived before you had him.
Let's get real now. We're dealing with a whole new degree of defamation if all of this turns out to be false. People might be sued because of this. However, there is a whole other storm on the horizon if even one of these accusations proves to be true. Because what we're seeing is people gradually renouncing their blind questioning her parenting, her decisions, and the true events that transpired behind the scenes while standing up for Chrisean. This is the point at which the internet divides entirely. There are those on one side who claim, "We knew this was shady," being referred to as reinforcement of their preconceived notions. Another side, however, is fighting for Chrisean and claiming that this is really a smear campaign to damage her name. Everyone is now engrossed in this drama as if it were the Netflix documentary series season finale. I therefore chose to investigate it myself. Interview 1345-1435. Because, let's face it, should all of the information in those screenshots be accurate? And the infant had several drugs in his system at delivery. Why wasn't he taken out sooner? Isn't an open investigation already in place? CPS would have taken over right away, wouldn't they? I mean, many people on the internet are. But in reality, it's not that easy. Looked into it. According to the law, hospitals must contact Child Protective Services or another child welfare agency when a newborn tests positive for drugs, has jurisdiction over that area. That does not, however, imply immediate removal. No. Assessments, interviews, and background checks are all part of the process. Despite what people believe, it's not an automatic process. Each situation is assessed individually depending on the mother's medical history, the baby's condition, and whether there is an urgent threat. Therefore, the conclusion may still differ, based on the findings of investigators, even if the hospital reported it, particularly when several narcotics are reportedly implicated, such as what's being discussed here. What occurs, though, once the call is placed? It becomes hazy there, and most people aren't aware of how profound it is. It's not usually the case that CPS will show up like a TV raid scene and immediately take a baby from its parents. In most cases, it doesn't work out that way. In reality, CPS may postpone taking any severe measures if the parent begins to cooperate, such as attending clinics, seeking therapy, or adhering to a care plan established by the hospital or social worker. They might want to keep an eye on, softly, while they monitor the situation behind the scenes. They may occasionally launch an official investigation while keeping the child with the parent. The state's, the child's condition, and the hospital's assessment can all have an impact. While some regions move quickly, others take their time. Every situation is unique. Let's assume it is true now. Suppose Chris Shaw really acknowledged using during her pregnancy would have undoubtedly led to an official report if medical personnel had documented that. Would be no choice in that regard. However, this is where the law becomes complex. There is no guarantee that a report will be automatically removed. The things that need to be assessed include intent, long-term effects, and proof of damage. Additionally, in court. So don't assume that nothing is happening just because it hasn't been loud or public yet. These systems are not as dynamic as social media. They walk slowly and silently. But when they do take action, trust is a powerful emotion. If even a little portion of what is being mentioned is accurate, then someone has already opened a file and is moving in the background. That is how it operates. Many people are unaware of this, and this is the part that surprised me. The baby does not necessarily leave the house just because a report is submitted and a newborn test results in a positive result. Unbelievable. It's not instantaneous, as you might imagine. This procedure is far more intricate than it. Look outside. Let's be clear, because individuals are making irrational assumptions and drawing rash conclusions online without even knowing how the system is supposed to operate. The hospital does not ignore a newborn who tests positive for a prohibited substance, as has purportedly been suggested in this case. No chance. According to the law, they must notify Child Protective Services right away. You can't argue with that. They called the hotline, and for good reason. However, after receiving that signal, CPS doesn't suddenly show up at the door and begin dragging infants away like they're in a TV show. It's a complete procedure. No, this is how it actually works. CPS doesn't make rash decisions to start. Everything is examined with a fine-tooth comb. It goes beyond a positive test result or an accusation. The whole picture is important. They will determine whether the parent can truly care for that child. Is the infant getting regular meals? Are they changing diapers? Do they receive the appropriate medical examinations? They search for those initial indications. They then go one step further. Does the residence have a safe, livable, and clean environment? Are a crib, running water, heat, and basic hygiene available? Does the parent participate in any kind of therapy program? Are they attending therapy? Is a family member stepping in to provide assistance? CPS is trying to comprehend. Is it merely a rough patch? Alternatively, are there actual indications that the youngster might be in danger? Currently, they have options if too many warning signs appear. While the parent works through a court-mandated care plan, CPS is legally drug tests, therapy, supervised visits, parenting seminars, and routine house inspections could all be part of that plan. That case file also takes a long time to close once it is open. A few of these situations persist for months or even years. In the majority of cases, if the parent exhibits sometimes under stringent guidelines, CPS will allow the baby to remain in the home if they make an effort, maintain their hygiene, attend appointments, and follow their case plan. We're talking about close progress monitoring, caseworkers dropping in on a regular basis, and reports being produced at every stage. Don't get it wrong then. Even if a child isn't taken away immediately, a case may still be ongoing. We would never know unless it appeared in court records, but it's possible that there is already a file in the system with Chris Shaw's name on it sitting on someone's desk. That's why people are watching this issue very closely online. On the surface, it may appear to be peaceful, yet there may be a completely other narrative unfolding behind the scenes. This is where it becomes much more intricate. When a newborn exhibits symptoms of chemical exposure, removal is not always necessary. This is where drug testing and rehabilitation programs are useful. The law may allow her to retain custody if the parent, in this case, Chrisean is assisting the court attending to her treatment, passing exams, and making a sincere attempt to get clean. Look, indeed, even if there are grave accusations circulating, the child may be allowed to remain there if she complies with all criteria and all court or CPS mandated rules. Additionally, they would have the legal authority to do so. CPS doesn't simply end after a report is submitted. They stay. They may schedule follow-up check-ins, drop-ins, or home visits. If the parent puts in genuine effort, ensures the junior's safety, and stays on course with care plans, the child won't be taken away every time. It's not universally applicable. Now, let's clarify one more thing. This whole thing is alleged. The screenshots that are circulating have not been confirmed by any government authority. No hospital or organization has verified anything, and we have no idea where they came from. It might all be fiction, or it might be true. That's why it's so delicate. Social media is divided, though. Some claim that Chrisean isn't taking the lead as a parent, particularly if there are medical issues for the junior. Others contend that what goes on behind closed doors is invisible to us. She might be doing everything correctly and simply keeping it quiet. She also doesn't have to give the internet a detailed account of her child's medical history. Face it, there's no question that the baby deserves the right care. However, Chrisean is not responsible for the public updates. She has a duty to that child, not to the comments. Everyone hopes she's acting morally, but unless she decides, to be honest, none of us truly understands what goes on behind the scenes. Everything is due to that baby. Assistance, consideration, and care. Definitely. It is important to keep in mind. However, that Chrisean is still managing things even if she does not publicly share her medical visits. Not all things must be made public. Now, I won't tell. Lies. To my surprise, those purported medical docs were making the rounds on Twitter and TikTok. If accurate, the allegations were serious and devastating. But once more, nothing has been verified, and we are still unsure of the exact source of those screenshots. This can be an indication or a complete fabrication. And if there's any truth to it, I hope someone is taking action behind the scenes for that Junior's welfare rather than for show. I would now like to hear from you. Are the screenshots visible to you? Do you believe they are authentic? Or does it appear like someone is promoting a false story? Post your opinions in the comments section. Turn on the notification bell. Hit the like button and subscribe while you're at it. Watch out for the next breakdown. That's it for now, but don't worry, this narrative is far from finished. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications enabled so you never miss what happens next. Hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments if you're interested in the drama. T is a never-sleeping creature. Continue to be locked in. Continue to be alert. Continue to be alert.